So Voicemeeter is an incredible piece of software. I've used it for a very, very long time to monitor all of my audio sources. But the thing with Voicemeeter, at times, it can be a little temperamental, where you have to try to figure out if the software is installed correctly, if you have everything done right so the software works, there's no crackling in your audio, all those different things. So I set out to figure out if there is a way to possibly monitor all my sources without using Voicemeeter Banana. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of Voicemeeter Banana. I've used it for a very, very long time. But when it gets temperamental, that could be frustrating for someone who's trying to learn the software, as well as someone who's used the software for a very long time. So in this video, what we'll set out to do is to use only OBS Studio to monitor our sources with some plugins. Let's get to it. All right, just to give you a heads up, this video is going to be jam-packed with all my settings for how I'm currently using OBS Studio to monitor all my sources. Also, I encourage you to watch to the end because there's a bonus on how I have this all fitting together. Let's get to it. All right, the first thing that you should do when you're setting this up is to make sure that when you are about to stream, you get a confirmation screen for that. So we're going to go to settings, or we're going to go to output, and we want to make sure we have the show confirmation dialog when starting streaming is checked. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to install the audio monitor software. So you go to the website. I'll have the website linked. This is the software that we're going to use to monitor our audio inside of OBS. So the way I have it set up right now is I'm monitoring my main, my microphone, music, and voice over IP. And we'll go over settings and things of that nature. So definitely stay tuned for all these things, because I'm going to try to go over them pretty much in its entirety. So you have all my settings and things like that. So once you install that, make sure you install it while OBS is closed. Okay, install it while OBS is closed. You hit download over here. It has an installer, so just go through the process, install the software, and once you do that, it's time for the next step. All right, so this is where it's going to get a little bit more interesting, and the variables will be there because I do not have the same card that you have. You may have another card, another make. So my inputs and what I use for output and what I'm using to monitor is going to be a little bit different. But I want to go over what I have so you see exactly my thought process behind why I have what I have. So first and foremost, let's look at the main for a second. Okay, so for the main, I have, if I go to the properties, I have high definition right here. Okay. And when I go to my main output settings, I chose the high definition settings for that. Since it's uncompressed, I decided that, hey, that may be better when audio is coming through there, whether that's the game audio or any other audio that is on the machine itself, not in the browser. I'm using something different for the browser. Okay. So I decided to go here. Digital audio HDMI as the main output. And then for the input, I went with the ATR 2100, which is my microphone. So I decided to use that. So when you look at the main for OBS, what you'll see is when I go to properties, it is the digital audio HDMI, the high definition, which is the main output that I chose for Windows 10. Okay, so that's that. Next thing we have is the microphone. So the microphone, you'll see if I go to properties, it is the ATR 2100. That's what I have there for my microphone. Your personal microphone will go here for this device. Okay. Next thing I have is the music. Okay. So for music, I'm using, let's go to properties. I'm using something on my machine that I found. It is a NVIDIA high definition audio driver. You may have a different driver depending on the card that you use. If you have a driver very similar to this, you can use that for your music. And here's how that works, right? So you have the NVIDIA driver here for the music section. So when I go to properties, open sound settings, and then I go to advanced sound options, I chose the same thing for the output of my browser. So this is it right here. So when you look at my browser right now, you see the NVIDIA driver that is here is selected in the output because the top is the output, the bottom is the input. So the top here, as you can see, is the NVIDIA driver for my Google Chrome. So any music that I'm playing on the Google Chrome is going to reflect the settings that I have in the music section for my OBS, which is the NVIDIA driver that I selected for the browser, and the same thing I selected for OBS, okay? So the next thing you have is your voice over IP. So any voice over IP application that I currently have on my Windows 10 installation is running, let's go to properties, is running the line 1 virtual audio cable. Now, let me be clear. This is not a virtual audio cable from Voicemeeter. This is a separate company that has their own virtual audio cables, and I'm using that company. So I chose line 1 for that. So when you go to, let's say, Discord, see if I can open that up here in the settings. So for Discord, the same information will be reflected. Okay, so let's pull this over. So as you can see for Discord, you have the line 1 virtual audio cable selected. You have my microphone, which is the ATR 2100. And when you go to, let's go back to OBS. If you go to properties of the voice over IP, let's go to properties there. You see the line virtual audio cable, as I mentioned before. So that's currently my main settings for the main, the microphone, the music, and the voice over IP. Okay, so let me just double check something real quick. Let's exit out of that for a second. Let's go back to the options. Let's go to sound control panel. And you'll see for the sound control panel, I have my default here, which is the digital audio HDMI. I'm trying to show you as much as I can so I don't leave anything out. And then for the recording tab, when I go there, you see my microphone, which is the ATR 2100 for that setting. So those are the settings that I have for the things that are selected for the main, the mic, the music, and the voice over IP. Now, again, as I mentioned before, your audio drivers will be a little bit different depending on what you have on your machine. Whether you're using an NVIDIA card or a different card, you may have some different things. So by way of a somewhat of a general advice here, I would use the HDMI for your main, and then I would use your best audio drivers for your music, whatever that would be, and your next best audio driver for your voice over IP application, and for your mic, use your best microphone that you have for the mic slot. All right, so now that we've done the foundational principles on how to set up or pick the audio drivers for the main, the mic, the music, and the voice over IP, now we're going to set up the audio monitor plugin for OBS. So since you already installed it, we're going to go to View, Docs, and we're going to pick the audio monitor. It's probably going to pop up on your screen like somewhere in the center, something like this. And then from there, not necessarily over here. Let me see. It's kind of weird. But from there, we're going to throw it on the bottom of the menu here. So I'd like it as a tab, which I'm glad that happened. We're able to just, fix that. I like it as a tab on the bottom so I can go between my stats and the actual audio monitor itself. Now, this may be a game changer for you if you used Voicemeeter, or if you currently use Voicemeeter Banana or Voicemeeter Potato or anything like that. This has essentially replaced anything that I was using in relation to Voicemeeter. I have no issues with Voicemeeter, with the exception of it being temperamental, but this has been a breath of fresh air to use ever since I started using it. So let's get to it. So we have it here on the bottom. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to add the Astro A50 as a monitoring device for the main, the microphone, the music, and the voice over IP. So to do that, you click the gear and you go to filters. Okay, and then you hit the plus sign, and then you add an audio monitor device. Okay, so before we do that, I just want to show you something real quick. Now, if you look already, I have a monitor optical, and that device is the optical device, and I'll already have the monitor Pro X, which is the device right here. So we're going to add the A50 for all 4 devices, and the process is going to be exactly the same. So we're going to hit the plus, we're going to hit audio monitor, and we're going to name it a monitor -A50. Okay, and then from there, we're going to go down the drop box here, the drop down menu, and we're going to click Astro A50 game. Okay, and that's it. So now I have for the main input here, I have an optical setup, the Pro X setup, A50 setup, and those are the setups right now. So I want to just point out a quick note before I forget, because I don't want to forget this. This is really important. Anytime you make adjustments or you add a new audio interface, a new audio device to your system, there's going to be some changes, and you want to make sure you catch the changes so they don't affect your overall streaming experience and things of that nature. And this is what I mean by that. So when you add a new audio device or any new audio driver, it's going to add itself as your global output and global input. So you want to make sure that whatever new device you add, it doesn't affect your global output or input, and you want to make sure that it doesn't change any settings like your main and your OBS. Okay, you want to make sure that that is the exact setting that you chose from the beginning. Okay, so now we added a A50 monitor for the main. We're going to do the same thing for the mic section. So we're going to go the gear icon there, filters. We're going to hit plus here, audio monitor, and then we're going to add monitor A50-A50. Okay, so now I hear myself. I click the I, so I don't hear myself. As you can see, the I was already unchecked for Pro X, because I don't need to hear myself every single time. I just need to know that it works and then go from there. So right here, A50, hit the drop down, click A50 game, close. And we're going to do the same thing for music. We're going to hit filters, plus audio monitor, and we're going to do monitor -A50, and whatever headsets you have that you want to add, if you want to add all your headsets in here or the ones that you use on a regular basis, you just do the same process for those. Monitor A50, we're gonna go default drop down A50 game, and we're gonna hit close. And last but not least, voice over IP, we're gonna click the cog there, filter, and we're going to do plus audio monitor. We're gonna do monitor -A50, hit OK. We're going to hit the Dropbox, A50 game, close. Okay, so now what does that mean, right? So basically what we've done right now is we added the Astro A50 device. I already had it in. I deleted all of them so I can actually do this for the tutorial. So we added the A50 as a monitoring device. So whether I'm using the Pro X, which I'm using now, I can add a link in the description, or the A50, which I have right here, that will monitor. I'll be able to hear anything that's happening on the main, the microphone, the music, and the voice over IP inputs, right? So now when I click the main and go to filters, you'll see that I already have also my VST plugins set up. I have some tutorials for that on my channel. So I have the high pass filter here, which get rid of the hums and different things like that when I have this checked, that kind of a thing. Then you have the compressor. 2 compressors are actually set up here, and this is why. So the first compressor is when I speak, whether the main is active or the music is active, the volume will automatically lower. Okay, and I have a side chaining tutorial on my channel for that as well. And when anybody that's a guest on a voice over IP section, whether that's a Zoom or specifically in our cases, Discord, when they speak as well, just like when I speak, the music volume will go down automatically, as well as whatever game volume that's happening at the same time. So not only did I set that up for myself, I set that up for anybody that's speaking on the voice over IP when we're playing a game, so it's naturally flowing between a conversation. When we're talking, it's fine, but as long as there's a voice over IP or a microphone, which is my microphone, speaking, then the volume of the game or the music will automatically lower. And I do have that tutorial on my channel. Next thing you have is EQ. The EQ is not necessarily like crazy setup. I like crisp highs and the lows and mids are fairly even, if you will. So nothing too crazy there. Next thing I have set up is the loudness. The loudness feature I chose to go with here is the Spotify feature with the M loudness analyzer that is at -14 LUFS, and that's set up. So now those filters are not just for me. Okay, so now when I go to my mic filters, let's look at that real quick. Similar filters, noise suppression. I got a low end compressor, de-esser, that kind of a thing. And the same thing is set up, I believe, for the voice over IP individual as well. Noise suppressor, low end compressor, de-esser, loudness limiter, and that kind of a thing. Also monitoring devices there. So that's pretty much how I've set up my audio monitoring plugin for OBS. And definitely want to show you a couple of things as well. When you click the gear icon for the audio monitor, you have options like the media output, which I have checked, the output slider, which I have checked, only active sources I have checked as well, and slider names. I like to see the name of whatever the slider is. So if you uncheck that, it removes it. And I think you actually need to see that, especially just to, decide which device you're actually using. So slider names are there. And then also we have the setting of the outputs for the tracks. You can actually show that. And when you do, it adds the meter. And from there, if you go back to outputs, you can see which track is which, or you want to select which one. You could do the setup there as well. I click uncheck there because I just want to see the monitoring devices and the output meter. So that's what I want to see there on my screen. So that's what I have set up there. So that's pretty much how you set up the audio monitor plugin for OBS. All right, guys, now this is the bonus. And if you made it this far, congratulations. Definitely show me that you made it this far. The word that I want to use is pizza. That's the code word. So either use the code word pizza or the pizza emoticon in the comments to show that you made it this far, because this is the bonus. And this is just as important as everything that we already talked about. So now we've set up the audio monitor. We've talked about the audio drivers. We talked about all those things. But for someone who've used Voicemeeter for such a long time, Voicemeeter Banana automatically had an option where you can auto start Voicemeeter as soon as you start your machine. Now, since we're using OBS, OBS does not have an option like that. Not that I've seen that it automatically starts for you. So now the challenge here is, if I do not start OBS, I can't hear anything. All right. So it is critical that OBS starts when Windows starts. So all my monitoring devices, whether it's the Pro X or A50 or things like that, I can hear from those devices, whether I'm on Discord or music or mic, if I need to monitor that, or definitely monitoring the main, right? So how do we get OBS to automatically start, right? That's the question. So this is how you do that. Okay, so you go to OBS and then you go to open file location, right? And then you copy your version. So if you have a 64-bit machine, you'll copy the 64-bit. If you have a 32-bit machine, you copy that. Okay, so let's make sure we remember how we got here. So we do OBS here, and then we open file location. That's how we got here. Okay. So now you want to copy your version. All right. And then now you want to go to the search box again, and you want to type run. Okay. And then you want to run shell :startup. Okay. Shell :startup and hit OK. And then you want to paste your application in here. So you want to paste whatever shortcut you just added. So basically what that means is, so as you can see, I have the OBS 64 exe. So basically what happens is every time Windows starts, OBS would automatically open up because you went and you did that step. So that is a critical step that you have to do for OBS to automatically open up every time you turn on your Windows machine. Voicemeeter had a feature similar to that, where you open it, where you check the box and it automatically opens up the application for you. So all your monitoring devices are ready to go and you can hear everything. So definitely let me know what you think about that, guys. And that was the bonus, and I'm glad you made it this far. All right, guys, we covered a lot in this video. I definitely want to know, what do you use currently to monitor audio? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Also, guys, if you have any questions, any comments about what we talked about in this video, you can check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Uriah. I'll have a link in the description as well, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. And until next time, see you on the next video.